This is the first video in hopefully a series of videos where I am going to document myself repairing this Ford Ranger that I purchased. So I purchased it in August of 2022, knowing that the engine was rebuildable, but just not worth it because it's an interference engine. The timing system went on it, and as a result, the valves and the pistons collided, pretty much destroying the head and the valves and the pistons in the process. So I trailered it home from about 4 hours away, so drove down and then drove back up, 8-hour day at least, and then hauled it all the way back up and planned to start tearing into it. So we have some pictures of that. These are just the pictures of it as soon as I offloaded it off the trailer. So brought it into the shop, and then I cracked into the engine, started removing stuff. I have never done anything like this before, so I didn't know exactly what I was doing. Ultimately, I didn't know what I was doing at all, and that's okay. So I marked everything as best I could so that I would be able to put it back together in the way that it came apart when I was finally ready to put it back together. I was now going to start removing the engine. There's a hoist there that I used to pull out the engine after everything had been disassembled. And then here is the culprit of the destroyed engine. So down there you can see that there is a cassette, I believe is what it's called, that holds the timing chain in place. And then the timing chain rode on this bolt and then skipped time. It's actually wearing down the bolt, and as a result caused the engine to collide with itself. So I have the engine pulled out in this picture. I was pretty happy with myself considering I'd never done anything like this before. So I just took a bunch of pictures of pretty much everything because I was just excited about the whole process. Yeah, so then I put it on a stand or on the lift to see what else was going on. Took a quick peek around, and it actually did look pretty good underneath. The brakes were totally destroyed. The rear brakes, the front brakes were new, but the rear brakes were toast. And then, so basically my plan was to put the engine out of this silver truck into the black truck. So it's the exact same engine except for a year newer, sorry. And so it's a 2004 Ford Ranger. It is pretty much the exact same truck, just a year newer, like I say. And it was in a rollover accident, so the driveline worked just fine up until the point where it rolled over, and then obviously was a write-off after that. So I began to pull it all apart again, and in this picture on the back right intake, you can see that it's totally full of oil, so I spent some time upside down. As a result, oil seeped into the intake, and yeah, it was crazy. As soon as I took off the intake manifold, everything was soaked in oil. It was super interesting. So this is my sister and I. We are pulling the engine. So okay, so this is gonna be the first video of me rebuilding my truck. There's already been quite a bit of work that's happened to it. I have already removed the engine and completely disassembled it. So obviously that's what the engine block is here. Obviously got my little partner here. So the truck I bought is Ford Ranger. Bought it with a busted engine. See if I can go here. It's the little black one out there. Interference engine, so engine completely cratered. Bought a different one that rolled over, same 1 year newer, and so it was a write-off. But now this is the block of the one that rolled, and I'm taking this engine because it was fine up until the point it rolled, and I'm putting it in the black one so I can actually drive a vehicle. That would be great. So there's a few parts over here. So pretty much I disassembled the entire thing, put the new, actually I disassembled both, pulled both engines out of each vehicle. This is the engine from the Black Ranger that eventually I'm gonna drive. Yeah, a bit of a mess in here.
So this engine's completely toast because the valves hit the pistons and ruined the heads, and I don't really want to deal with that for a $5,000 truck. Just not worth it to me. So yeah, I got a different engine from a truck that worked up into the point it rolled, and so we're going to put that engine in. There's a bunch of pictures I took of the disassembly of both that I will put in the slideshow. It's just way too many pictures for the amount of work that's gone into it, so I've just decided to do a few videos on it and then put them together so that I can keep track of what has happened and whatnot. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. Okay, so what I'm doing now is basically honing the cylinders. I guess people call it deglazing the cylinders as well. Basically, the reason we're doing this is so that the new oil rings that sit in the pistons will properly mate with the new block, or with the block effectively. So basically you take this little device here, put it inside one of the cylinders with some oil after cleaning it, and basically you just spin the drill and move it in and out, and it creates cross-hatching. Don't want to fall out there. Okay. Clean that up a little bit. I'm gonna have to clean it out for real, but just to see what we got. So, I don't know if we'll be able to tell. It looks very different. So you can see that it's got some cross hatching in it now, whereas the one I haven't done really doesn't have any. It's glazed. So, that's pretty much what we're looking for. Alright, so the cylinders have been honed and the head has been honed, and then we just put the crank in the bottom with the new bearings, and now we're just putting the top bearings on and bolting her down. Alright, so we got the first piston installed. Obviously the other ones are all not installed. This is the rest. We haven't dealt with the other three, and the other two, I just finished cleaning this one. And then also this one I cleaned, and then I also put the rings in, as you can see. So then we have to compress them, and then I have to put that one into, that's number 2 I just was looking at, and then 3 was just cleaned. So, and then these are to be cleaned yet. Alright, so since we last spoke, we got the cylinders filled with pistons, and now we just put the this is the upper oil pan, and then the lower oil pan bolts onto that, as well as the oil pump, which is right there, has been put in, and that's pretty much it. And so then we're going to flip it over afterwards and put on the heads.